So the other day I was reading a debate online about what was correct left hand form, and one guy was arguing vehemently that the only way to play was using the classical guitar form. Now I think they were missing the point really, because there is no one best way of playing the guitar, and a lot of guitarists I know move between different techniques depending on what they're playing. So what I thought I'd do this week is just focus on the classical guitar form and what I call the rock or blues guitar form, and just show you the strengths and weaknesses of one over the other, why I choose one and not the other one. So let's zoom in on my left hand and I'll go through the two. So let's start with the rock grip. With the rock grip, the guitar basically sits between your thumb and your index finger, and you can see the thumb sticking out around the side. And if you look at people like Stevie Ray Vaughan or Jimi Hendrix, you'd see them using this grip all the time. And there's a couple of really good reasons for this. I mean, firstly, you've got a good solid handle on the guitar, so if you're the kind of person who likes to jump around on stage, then you know the guitar's not going to slip out of your hand when you're holding on it like this. But there are good technical reasons for using this as well. I mean, the first one really is string dampening, because well, you've got your fingers so flat on the neck like this, you can hit the strings and they're not going to vibrate. And similarly, you can just fret one string and get this kind of a sound. So I can really hit the strings and know that only the string I'm aiming for is going to sound out when I'm holding the guitar like this. So that's one really positive thing, especially if you're playing with distortion. The other thing is you've got good strong lateral control, so that's side-by-side control, which means string bending is a lot easier in this kind of shape. So what I'm doing there is I'm bending the string with my second finger, I'm pushing against my thumb, so that's why I'm able to bend the string so easily. And similarly with vibrato, what I'm doing here is I'm applying vibrato with my index finger, but I'm also using the back of my index finger as a hinge, which is why I'm able to apply this kind of vibrato. Now the cons, the reasons why you wouldn't use this, is that it tends to be a bit more static, I guess because it's such a stable shape. You've got a lot of flesh against the neck of the guitar, so it's not so easy to move up and down. Also, you haven't got the same stretch as you would with, say, the classical technique, and so things like fretting the bass strings is that much more difficult while your thumb's wrapped around like this. It's also not so useful if you want to play big, sort of jangly acoustic guitar chords, because your fingers are flattened, you tend to find that one finger fouls the string above, which is great. Like I say, use that for string damping, but if you want to play nice jangly chords, then you want every string to sound out, so the best thing to do is to fret with the tips of your fingers. But yeah, I use this all the time when I'm playing rock guitar. So let's move on to the classical form. With the classical form, what you try and do is you try and pinch the guitar neck between your thumb and your middle finger. That's kind of the classic starting point. So your thumb is right on the back of the neck, and then your fingers basically curl around on top like this, and you're fretting with the tips of your fingers. And what this does is it gives you much more sort of finger independence. So you find when people move into start shredding, they invariably drop into this kind of a shape. Similarly, it gives you more of a stretch as well. So you're able to do much bigger stretches with this. You're able to reach over to the bass strings much more easily with this kind of form, and chords as well, because you're fretting with the tips of your finger. You can make sure that every note sounds out nice and cleanly. So it's great for chords. Cons. For this is lateral control, because you've only got your thumb at the back of the neck. You haven't got anything to push against if you're bending a string, so it feels more awkward. And similarly, vibrato is a little bit more tricky because I haven't got anything to hinge against. Also, because I'm fretting with the tips of my fingers, spurious string noise is harder to control with the left hand. I just haven't got any other part of the finger in contact with the other strings to keep them dampened. So that's it really. The classical technique is great for fast runs. The rock technique is great for string bending. It's good for sort of power chords and controlling the strings, and it's a good, strong, stable position. So that's it. From my point of view, you really should learn to use both and just move between the two. And before long, you'll be doing it unconsciously, like a lot of good guitarists do. I mean, have a look at people like Steve Vai or Nuno Bettencourt or Richie Kotzen, and you'll see when they're moving between sort of playing more bluesy or doing their shredding, they'll be moving between the sort of the rock grip and the classical grip. So hopefully that was useful for you, and we'll chat next time. See you later.